We've waited for this Apocalypse Rising 2 update for so long, and it finally came. The Apocalypse Rising 2 update is here. But with it being delayed for like so long, it still feels rushed. Let's talk about it. Before we go ahead and continue the video, I just want to say thank you so much for watching and clicking on the video, and make sure you like and subscribe if you're new. The biggest thing that we would be discussing about this new update, which I'm glad it's here, I just have mixed feelings about it. So the first thing that we'll be talking about would be guns. Guns will be the first thing that we'll be talking about, and so I have really mixed feelings when it comes to the update overall, but when it comes to guns in the new update, I actually love it more than probably anything else in this update. One of the main reasons was because before the update, so in the previous version of AR2, you were able to spray down full auto spray from so far with guns like the AKM, the AK-47, and the bar. Like no matter how skilled you were, you would still be able to do this. And although I didn't mind it, a lot of other people thought it was really OP. It's like guns like the AKM and the AK-74, the orange AK. Now, when they completely redid the entire recoil system from scratch, I was surprised. I was really surprised, and I really like this new update. I do, however, don't like how they redid some of the guns. For example, the A1, that thing is unusable. You cannot full auto spray and aiming down sights. You just can't. You need to have no DPI in order to do it. Like that is just insane to me. But another one that I do like was the M14 in the old update was complete garbage, and the FAL was also too, but I was starting to like it. But the M14 and the FAL are just so much better in this update. They're so much better. I actually like them as assault rifles, and I'm going to talk about assault rifles in a second. But I actually like the assault rifles, aside from a couple of them, which being the AR1, the M16 A1, and the A2, the AKM, the AK-47, both the Soviet AKs. I don't like. Mainly because I just don't see a reason to use them anymore. When SMGs and LMGs are the meta, I don't see a reason to use any of those assault rifles. Sure, if you find, let's say you find an FAL or an M14, yeah, that is considered to be meta, because even though it is an assault rifle, right, it reloads 2 rounds every 0.33 second, it is still good because the fire rate and damage and how easily it is to control the recoil, right? That's still considered meta. But the AKM and the A1 and the AK-47, there's just no reason to use them, right? They reload. They have a 30 round capacity, right? So they reload, because they're assault rifles, 2 rounds every 0.33 seconds, right? That is just so bad compared to the SMGs and LMGs, right? You don't need, like, the LMGs reload 1 round every 0.33 seconds, but that doesn't matter because that mag capacity for LMG is 100 rounds. Meanwhile, the AKM, the AK-47, the A1, the A2, their mag capacity is 30 rounds. So there's no reason to use it. And if we're choosing to like decide over SMG over assault rifle, the SMG is the meta. If you haven't tried the M31 SMG or the orange AKU SMG or even the XM. Like those guns are just really crazy. Like the fact that they got away with that much, it's just really OP. It's just OP. Try it. So the SMG reloads the fastest, 3 rounds every 0.33 seconds. That is fast, and it's the same capacity as the assault rifle. And even though it does do less damage, the fire rate is so high, and you can spray from so far. So it really doesn't even matter if it does less damage. If you can get a shot or a chance to full auto spray your opponent from 300 to 400 studs, they're dead. You can't do anything about it. Now, yes, all of this is subjective to player skill level. All right, there are people who can still spray so far with the ACAM, right? A lot of it is subjective to player skill level. I understand that, but even though, let's just take the noobiest noob that you can think of, right? And let's give him an ACAM and XM. He will have a better chance to kill you with an XM than with the ACAM. So then again, it is subjective to skill level, but the way I see it is SMGs and LMGs are the meta. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people in the community that will side with me on that, especially the M249. The M249 is a disgusting of a gun. 100 rounds, it doesn't matter if it reloads 1 bullet every 0.33 seconds. It does not matter. It's a 100 round mag, and we haven't even gotten to the ammo boxes, the Soviet cans, the NATO cans. They're absurdly disgusting and broken. Yes, I love new changes. I love that they're switching up the meta, and I appreciate that. I was kind of getting tired of just everyone running AKMs in the previous version of AR2. So what the cans do is they get rid of ammo boxes, because ammo boxes now have a capacity. Some ammo boxes have a 30 capacity, some ammo boxes have 20 capacity. Now the ammo cans do take up more storage in your inventory, but the capacity is so worth it. It's so worth it. You just carry one can, and you're set. The capacity varies from 200 to all the way from 200 all the way to 1,080, 90. I know the orange AK can has a really high capacity. Can't remember the exact number at the moment, but they are just so much better than ammo boxes. Everyone knows that. Yes, they sacrifice space in your inventory, but it really doesn't matter. Ammo boxes would hurt you or not benefit you at all if ammo cans are in the game. So it's just really nice. I just wish that there was a 9mm ammo can, and I kind of can see why there isn't, because SMGs already alone reload the fastest when it comes to putting bullets into magazines. So, but I would love to see maybe like a 250 civilian 9mm can in the game, because I don't think that would be too broken. I think that'd be kind of nice and sweet for everybody. Yeah, so like I'm talking about SMGs for the MP5, MP5K, Uzi, you know, things like that. Like there's no more extended mags. So for guns like the Uzi and the Tech 9, that'll really be beneficial for those guns. You know, you'll have to think twice. Like, damn, do I want to take the Mac 10 or do I want to take the Uzi or the MP5K? Because right now, Mac 10 is still good. Like no matter how bad they mess up the Mac 10 ADS recoil, it doesn't matter. Like, why are you aiming down sights with Mac 10? You're gonna be using that in third person. So yeah, it's just a no-brainer. If I see an Uzi and a Mac 10, I'm taking the Mac 10 every time. But if they implement a 9mm can with it, maybe it doesn't even have to be 250 capacity. it could be at a 200 capacity. I'm still gonna choose, you know, it's gonna be a lot harder for me to choose the Mag 10. Without the mag being in the game, I'm gonna choose the Mag 10. But if they implement that, it's gonna be a lot harder to choose the Mag 10. I'm gonna have to like, do I want more ammo, or do I want speed? Essentially, that's what the Mag 10 is. It's just speed. But so that's my viewpoint on guns. I don't really like the AKM. I don't really like the AK-47. Those used to be my favorite guns. Previous version of AR2. I don't like them anymore. I don't see a reason to use them anymore. Right now the meta is SMG and LMG, so if you can get your hands on those, you're pretty much set. You're set. Even the M31 SMG, like, that gun is disgustingly good. No recoil, and it just shreds. Now, let's talk about the sniper rifles. The sniper rifles is also another heavily frowned upon nerf. I don't see it that way. So a lot of the community members say that the PSG was nerfed down to the ground, right? They say that the ammo capacity or the mag capacity from 10 to 5 is too much of a nerf. And honestly, I don't think so. I don't think that's the proper nerf. I don't consider it a nerf. When you lower the magazine capacity from 10 to 5, what are you doing? Right? What are you trying to accomplish? It has a crazy fire rate because it's a semi-automatic sniper rifle. So yes, by lowering it down from 10 to 5, it gives you less rounds that you can shoot at people. But if you have more than one round or magazine, if you have more than one magazine, that doesn't matter. And it also doesn't matter if it's still 2-shot headshot. The PSG is still 2-shot headshot. And so what I think they should have gone with the nerf is not the ammo mag capacity, not lowering its firing rate, because if you lower the PSG fire rate, then it's basically just another L9 and it makes it useless. Might as well just use L9. But the thing that they should have nerfed when it comes to PSG is probably damage, making it not a 2-shot headshot. Now, I know that sounds pretty crazy. It's supposed to be one of the best snipers in the game. But if people are complaining that they don't get a chance to react when they get shot by a PSG, then don't make it 2-shot headshot. Don't make it 2-shot headshot. If you give me a PSG, if you give anybody who loved the PSG in the previous update and you give it to them, they're going to shred with it still. That 5 ammo magazine is not holding them back enough, right? There was never times in the previous, I mean, there are obviously, there has to be, but it was very little times where you would have to use your entire PSG mag to wipe a squad, right? Those extra rounds were mainly just comfortable rounds. We'll call them comfortable rounds for people who aren't good at sniping. Those were comfortable rounds. Those excess rounds, those 10 rounds, allowed you to miss a couple shots and not have to waste time reloading and then still kill your opponent, right? So if anything, this PSG 10 to 5 ammo capacity magazine nerfed was more for the noobs. Now, then again, if you're not really good at the PSG, I'm not insulting you at all. I'm garbage with the PSG, but I can still use it. But yes, if you think about it, people who land their shots with the PSG and are just good at it, it's not a nerf. You're nerfing the wrong thing. The proper nerf for the PSG probably should have been the 2-shot headshot. Do not make a 2-shot headshot. Keep the fire rate. If anything, make it a little bit faster if you're going to make it not 2-shot headshot, and that way it just gives players time to react. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below about the PSG nerf. So now that we talked about the PSG and its current status in the game, let's talk about scope sway, because I actually think it's very interesting that they added in scope sway. Now, of course, a lot of people don't like it because, well, people don't like weapon change in general, but change is to come, and so let's talk about weapon scope sway. In my opinion, I think it's really nice. I think it's a really nice addition, because it also nerfs snipers as a whole. It's not a direct nerf. It's more of an indirect nerf, because there's weapon sway for the rifle scope, for the OCR, and a little bit of the prism sight. So it's more of a indirect nerf, but I don't even think it's considered nerf. It's just a rework, and I think it's really good because it's the same pattern every time. So if I look down through a rifle scope and I don't try to control it at all, it's gonna be the same pattern every time. It is the exact same pattern. It will move and sway the exact same time every time. So since this update is, well, this video will be posted probably today or tomorrow, so since this update is like 4 to 5 days new, so it's been out for 4 to 5 days if you're watching this video within the upload time, people are still getting used to that weapon sway, and that's fine. It's gonna take time to get used to that weapon sway, but it won't be long until people memorize that weapon sway, and because it's the same weapon sway every time, it won't take long. People out there will get used to it, and they will adjust to it, and they'll be just as good as they were previously in the in the last version of AR2. And so it's just gonna take time to adjust. It's just gonna take time for people to get used to it. Now, I do like the fact that they added weapons scope sway to the prism sight, to I'm not sure if it's with the Pelican. I haven't had my hands on a Pelican in long enough to see if there's weapon sway in it, but I know there's a little bit of weapon sway in the prism sight and in the OCR, and especially in the rifle scope. I think it's a good thing. It's another thing that people have to adjust to get good at the game, and it just appreciates and highlights skilled players as a whole, and I like that. So now that we talked about the SMGs, the LMGs, so assault rifles, and the sniper rifles when it comes to the PSG and weapon scope sway, there's one last thing I want to talk about before we move into the next topic, and that is going to be the Thompson and A1. Coming back to the A1, I said earlier that the A1 is complete garbage now. It is definitely complete garbage when it comes to first person spray. In third person, I don't think it's that bad. It's actually pretty good in the third person, but then again, a lot of people are going to be aiming down sights, just because I guess the new update is all about the new recoil up. So I haven't seen a whole lot of people use the A1. If I ever killed someone and they had an A1 on them, it's probably because they were a fresh spawn. A lot of people give up an A1 or don't even take the A1. I would rather take a camp carbine than the A1, because let me tell you, that camp carbine rework is, oh my gosh, that is such a good rework. Faster shooting, so faster fire rate, and it's a laser. Love it, love it. But so, and the Thompson, that's another thing. You have to burst or tap fire with A1 and the Thompson if you want an ADS. Those are guns that you should not be ADSing with. You should be third person fighting with those guns because of how bad the recoil is. Now, I don't really see a reason why they would do that to the A1 and the Thompson. I guess for the Thompson, I can see why they would do it for the Thompson, because there's a drum mag is still in the game for the Thompson. but then again, it's still really bad. It just makes the drum mag useless, and no one would ever keep or hold the Thompson long enough to just like, oh, let me see if I can find a drum mag. Or if you find the Thompson with the drum mag, it's still not, oh, you know what, I'd rather trade out my Camp Carbine or my FAL or my A2 or the M249 for this thing. Like, no one should do that. The Thompson is just garbage. It's bad. Yes, it's an SMG. Yes, I said SMGs are meta. Thompson is an exception to when I say that, because you have to tap fire to kill people, or you just close range PvP, so CQC, third person. But if you want to try to full auto spray people long range, like maybe like 100 to 250 studs, you can't. You have to tap fire, and it does no damage, so there's no reason for you to be tap firing if you're not going to do any damage. The main reason why tap firing is in the game, or in any game, is if you want to tap fire with a high damage weapon. So if you were to use the AKM over an SMG, over a meta weapon, and you were to argue like, oh, I'm using it because of tap firing, that's understandable, because it does a lot of damage headshot. It does 32 headshot. So that's understandable. But if you were to say, oh, I'm using the Thompson because it's good both CQC and mid-range fights, I would argue no, it's garbage mid to long range, and it's also garbage compared to other CQC weapons, the MAC-10, the Uzi, the MP5K, the MP5, the XM, the AKU. It's just garbage compared to those other weapons, because the XM and the AKU can both CQC and mid to long range spray, full auto spray. So I think they need to buff the Thompson in some way. I don't know what would be a reasonable buff for the Thompson or the A1. I think the A1 is good, actually, thinking about it. I don't think anyone will be using it in first person or ADSing. I think they can leave the A1 alone, but the Thompson does need some kind of attention, because no one is using that thing unless they're forced to. Unless they're absolutely forced to. If they're a fresh spawn and there's no other gun in the area, then it's understandable. But there's just better CQC weapons that just outdo the Thompson, so there's just no point in using it. I guess I'll make this video a gun update. I'll tell you a gun update review, because I've spent the past 23 minutes talking about the new guns and recoil rework. But let me know what you think they should do about the Thompson. I definitely want to see your comments down below about anything that I've spoken and talked about in this video. Very curious to see what you have in mind. And especially about the PSG nerf. What are your thoughts on it? Do you think it's a nerf? Do you think it's not big of a nerf? Do you think it's the proper nerf? Do you hate it, like it? Let me know down in the comments below. I will be replying to every single one of you guys. And I guess I'll do another update video talking about the map locations and the map rework and the trees and the buildings and the new island and boats and cars, and most importantly, latency. I will be talking about latency in my next AR2 update review, because latency is a big problem. So but anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Take it easy. Peace out.